Hi, and welcome back. This is the final video of the self-paced online course for Agile leaders. And as part of this, we're going to cover a final case study. This time, we're covering Netflix. Netflix has truly been a reinvention machine. They have systematically and significantly shifted their business model. They started out as a company renting out DVDs, and from there moved towards streaming. Then they moved from streaming general content towards licensed content specifically for them. Then they started to create their own content, so moving from a technology company to a real content company. And ultimately, they took the content production and the delivery of that content from the US to the whole world. Netflix was able to make these shifts based on the unique culture that Reed Hastings, their founder, among others, had instilled in the organization. Reed did this purposefully based on his past experience at his very first company, Pure Software. In his own words, Pure Software had become increasingly efficient and decreasingly inventive. And he wanted to prevent this happening again. So when Netflix started to grow, Reed knew that he had to do things differently than at Pure Software. And the most important thing from his perspective were the policies that an organization starts creating once the business scales. All of these policies, be it expense policies, travel policies, or vacation policies, aim to make an organization dummy-proof. And based again on Reed's own words, if an organization is made dummy-proof, only dummies want to work there. And his vision for Netflix was to have the most creative workforce, so not dummies that are staying at the organization because it's dummy-proof. So what they needed to do, and he was aware of that, was to let go of a lot of these policies. Not only create simple guidelines, but actually remove as many policies as possible. At the same time, when an organization becomes bigger and bigger, who will hold people accountable? So what they realized is that you need a certain pattern, and that pattern always starts with increasing talent density, so making sure that a larger percentage of the people in your organization is not only talented at what they do, but also responsible in how they act. Then secondly, introduce candor, which basically means people hold each other accountable. And number 3, remove control. Netflix did this in 3 phases. And you can read about all of those phases in detail in the book No Rules Rules, written by Reed Hastings, the founder and CEO of Netflix, and co-authored by Erin Meyer, a professor at INSEAD. They demonstrate really well that if you want to create a culture of freedom and responsibility, which then becomes the foundation for the creative genius to emerge, both in terms of technology and content, you first need to create people holding each other accountable, because only then you can have less and less controls, and only then you can lead with more and more context. The tremendous success of Netflix is not only in their financial success and in the performance of their stock in the stock market. It's also the high level of employee satisfaction, and people ranking Netflix as the number 1 employer ahead of Apple, ahead of Tesla, ahead of Google. It's also the number of Emmys and other awards that Netflix has received for the amazing content that they have built. And of course, it's also about the joy that they have brought to their customers. I hope that this brief case study about Netflix gives you a good understanding of how important culture in an organization can be, and how this culture can be shaped, and that you can't have all the freedom in the world if people are not acting responsible and don't hold each other accountable. This was the final case study of this course. In our next video, we will briefly summarize this module and then move on to the test. See you there.